Everybody, it's time for another segment of What's Matt Miller Driving.
Yes.
Matt, of course, is the host of everything at
show.
Bloomberg. Markets, crypto, Bloomberg fill in the blank.
ETFs.
I said.
Also does a radio show in the morning with Paul Sweeney.
I believe they call
We have
it.
a podcast called The Tape.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, but you
And I'm working on another podcast
Oh, what?
with Hannah Elliott and Barry Ritholtz. I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything.
the three of you?
It's out
Yeah.
there now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Very fantastic.
It's
my
just
God.
about cars.
I love Hannah. Oh, there are two of you.
Yeah.
All right, so Matt's here in studio. You're such a sweetheart because it's been a really long day for you, and you came in to talk about what Matt Miller is driving. So what are you driving?
So
this week?
this week I was given for test driving purposes an Audi Q8 e-tron, which is a long and confusing name, and I don't know exactly why they call it all of those things, but basically it's their biggest top-of-the-range SUV that is purely powered by electricity. So it's a BEV. It's not actually as big as the Q8, which is a gasoline-powered SUV that they also sell. It's a little bit smaller, and I think it really benefits from being a little bit smaller because it handles better because it's shorter than almost any of the electric SUVs out there. I've test driven the BMW iX, I've test driven the Mercedes EQS, and they all get a little bit wobbly in high-speed turns, but this one handles like an Audi. I used to always say it turns like it's on rails, because an Audi was the first car I
Julia
ever bought.
Roberts said that in a movie, It was called Pretty Women.
Did she say that? Oh yeah, that's right, with the Esprit, the Lotus Esprit.
She had little feet, right? And she was able to work them.
That's where I got it. Little feet and some long legs.
All right. Having said that, can I just tell you, when I started my broadcast a million hours ago, I come in and I'm like pulling everything up, and on Google is a couple of websites of Audis. So you must have been sitting here.
No, that was where Paul was sitting.
Oh, so Paul was pulling it up, so he knew what you were talking about.
Yeah, because I was telling him about it too.
All right, so can we actually have some video for those folks on YouTube and Bloomberg Originals, and our producer Ariel Agami is going to bring it up. So tell us about it. It looks kind of gorgeous.
I think it is the best looking of all the
radio
EV SUVs. I mean, I really think it's elegant. It's not flashy or too futuristic, like in your face.
Yeah.
So you could have it every day as a daily driver. Now, I'm a little bit
It actually looks
biased.
like a car inside too, which I feel like some of the.
It looks so much like an Audi.
Yeah.
And Audi was the first car I ever bought with my own money. In 2001, in Frankfurt, I bought an Audi A4 station wagon. They call it an Avant.
You love Audis.
I'm a big fan. My dad had an Audi 5000 when I was a little kid, so I love it. And if you like this style of car, you're going to really like this one.
How much does it cost?
It's very expensive, as are
what I
all
figured.
of these SUVs.
They all are.
So they say it starts out at 75, which is true technically, but Carol, anytime you go and start checking the boxes of the things that you really need to have, like, am I going to buy?
Is there a steering wheel with their
Exactly.
Power
All the
windows.
stuff that you need to add, it's going to get up to $90,000, which is, I feel like, unbelievably expensive. Maybe for the kids, that's not expensive anymore these days, but
that's a
when I
lot.
grew up, that was like
That's a lot.
super
Send a
luxury.
kid to college or buy a car.
Right.
Having said that, let's talk about range, because we have to talk about range when we talk about EVs.
So these are some of the issues I have with it. It's not slow, but it's not very fast. Most other electric SUVs and electric cars are like neck-snappingly fast, which I like. You may not like that. And I think this is what Audi did on purpose. It doesn't jerk you back. It doesn't make you feel sick when you put the pedal on the floor. I like to have that once in a while. In terms of range, it doesn't quite get to 300 miles of range. It's a lot better than the previous e-tron, which got like 225.
Right.
That's what they say. This one gets 285, they say. Now, when I'm driving, it gets far less range than that because I like to drive pretty fast in a spirited way.
Yeah.
So this is one of the issues, I think. It doesn't quite go as fast or as long as other SUVs.
Compare, so Mercedes or some of the other EVs.
They're much
what's their range?
faster.
But what's their range?
They
Even
have more than 300, and
Okay.
I think that's what consumers want these days. That's the kind of the magic number to get to, and Audi still needs to perfect that. The other thing is other SUVs have something that a lot of people don't like at first, but you really get used to, and that's regenerative braking. So when you're on the gas, it goes. When you let off the gas, it feels like someone put the brakes in because it's trying to get power back.
Oh, I love that.
The Audi e-tron doesn't really have that full time. You've got to hit the downshift paddle to boost the regen.
Yeah.
And you have to do it every time you want it, which annoyed me because I want to be able to set it and forget it. So those are some of the cons that it has. But I have to tell you, the ride is superb. As I said, the handling is fantastic. And I think the tech is all perfect as well. You know, most of the buttons are on the touchscreen, and usually I complain about that because I want real knobs.
Yeah.
But the way they've laid it out and the way that it works, it's perfectly functional, and I wouldn't change a thing.
What model would be the biggest competition to this?
Well, the German SUVs, probably not the Mercedes EQS. That's another step higher, but the Mercedes EQE. In terms of BMW, you know, the iX is the only thing that they have that's even close, and it's easily $10,000 more, if not 15. So they don't really have a direct competitor out of the Bundesrepublik. Maybe if you step down, like a Nissan Ariya is pretty close, but of course it's not nearly as luxurious.
It looks pretty luxurious. So is it tapping into the Tesla charging network or not yet?
You know, that's a good question. I don't know if it uses the Tesla charging network, but I do know that they charge much faster than they did before. I test drove the regular e-tron, the old e-tron in 2019, and that charged at 150 kilowatts. This one, they've amped it up, so it charges at 150 kilowatts. That means it can go from 10% to 80% in about a half hour if you're at a fast charger on the highway.
That's amazing.
If you're leaving at your house, you can just plug it in, and it takes 13 hours to fully recharge, but you can put an option, you know, you can pay a little bit more money and it'll charge about twice as fast.
Is this blasphemy because you're from Texas and that's where all the oil is?
No, it's totally fine. I mean, I haven't driven a car in like 10 years because I sold mine when I moved to New York. But I'm curious as far as how long do you get to keep the cars to test drive for? Like how long do you?
So most manufacturers will give journalists cars for about a week. And in the past, I have kept them that long. I try not to do that anymore because I want to avoid the appearance of impropriety. So I just test them, you know, I make notes, and then I hand them back. But yeah, a week is the typical loan time.
So if you were buying an EV, I hate to have you choose your favorite child, would this be the one you'd buy?
I think it would be, but I'm not ready to buy an EV yet.
I know you're
so
not.
this, I mean, you know, I have a soft spot for Audi. It was a fantastic car to drive in and out of the city in, and I took it up to Bear Mountain and ripped around the curvies. It was super fun.
That's a great place to drive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But for me, I would choose a hybrid if I were worried about saving the planet, because I want to be able to drive around with electric power when I'm in town, but when I go on longer trips to, Fire Island or the great state of Ohio, I need the gas engine.